Good morning, everybody. Welcome. It's nice to see everybody. I will call the meeting to order at 9 a.m. And I'd like to start by acknowledging that we are gathered on Treaty 6 lands, a part of the many traditional territories of the First Nations, Inuit, and Métis in Alberta. The town of Drayton Valley is grateful for the knowledge keepers and elders and stories and teachings that they share of these lands and its people. I will now ask everyone to stand for the singing of our national anthem.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. Cattle we stand on. Canada, we stand on. We stand on.
Are there any additions to the agenda this morning?
Not from administration, Madam Mayor.
Council? None. Is there a member of council that would like to adopt the agenda as presented, please? Councillor Ballas, thank you very much for that. All in favor? That is carried. Any corrections or amendments to the November 29th, 2023 regular meeting of council minutes? Is there a member of council that'd like to adopt those?
It says deputy mayor. I'm Milligamana there. So that will be
okay.
corrected going forward.
If we can change that, it's still saying Deputy Mayor Milligamana. It needs to be Deputy Councillor Clark. On the minutes? Oh, just on the minutes, yeah. Oh, yeah, it does say on the minutes there, yeah. On the minutes, but on the agenda, that's correct. Okay, is there a member of council that would like to make a motion to accept the November 29th, 2023 regular meeting with the amendment to that? Councillor McGee, thank you very much. All in favor? That is carried. We have no proclamations this morning, nor do we have any public hearings. We do have one delegation, which is our community recognition. It's an opportunity for us to highlight and to celebrate the amazing people in our community. And this morning we have Miss Barty Kuliasa. Thank you very much for coming. Barty Gorbon Daryani was born in a serving family. Her father was a Rotarian member and her mother was a principal of an East Indian school that they opened in Bandung, Indonesia. Barty moved to Canada, Drayton Valley in 1990, where she got married to Dennis, and we know her now as Barty Kuliasa ever since. Barty became involved with the Pentecostal Church and involved herself with Sunday school, WE College, and women's ministries. Barty makes things happen, and she sure does. You volunteered your time as an educational assistant with Joshua starting school, and today you are still active casually as an EA in all the schools in Drayton Valley. So thank you for coming today. I know that you were also working, so it's very special that you could be here with us. Barty has a passion for newcomers, whether from abroad or moving within Canada. Her comments and motto are, "We're all family and we need to get people involved in our community so home doesn't feel so far away." As doors opened and her friend circle grew, Barty had more opportunities to serve the community, whether it be through various groups or just providing a listening ear and advising young mothers how to change diapers and look after their babies. We all hope that you can continue to do all that you do in good health with your smile and for many, many years to come. Barty, thank you so much for settling in, enriching our community, being such a special member of our community, supporting our community members, and including and welcoming newcomers. Thank you very much, Barty. And we'd love to get a little picture with you. You want to come on down? If you want to get in the middle of it, how about here? If you wanted it, we'll all look at Dennis. Do you want to come in here? And then you'll come in the picture. Come over here.
No, I'll stand here on this side here because it'll look better.
But it was a little bit of humor. Oh, come on.
Great,
Amazing.
well dressed in the beginning. Well, you know what I think?
I know. It's people like you that give our community that. See? Thanks, Dennis. Bye, Barty. Always so lovely. All right. So that is it for our delegations this morning. This is our last community recognition as we wrap up and head into the holidays and New Year as well. So it's a short agenda today. We only have a few decision items on here. The first one is 9.1, which is our acceptance of the FRIA grant. Mr. Tom Thompson, come on down. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Mayor, Council. So this morning I'm here to present the FRIA grant. As everyone knows, with the recent events of our wildfire and the way the weather is looking outside right now, it could be another busy spring fire season. So the fire department has moved forward with an application to FRIA to support public education of our citizens, to increase public awareness of the threat of wildland fires and ways to reduce the risk to properties through fire smarting. The grant application was done in September, and we were notified that we are approved for the grant with the approval of council. The plan is to host a series of town hall meetings as well as a media campaign to educate our public in terms of the fire risks and fire smarting. The grant application will require administrative support to book facilities and gather supplies, as well as for fire personnel to do parts of the presentation. We're also looking to bring in some experts to to talk to the public about fire smarting. So all we require at this point in time is for council to approve this application and the funding for the grant.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that. Any questions? Go
One
ahead,
quick
Councillor
one,
McGee.
Madam Mayor. Did you have to work through warehouse or you went strictly straight to FRIA on this one?
This is strictly through FRIA. Yeah.
You don't need to, because we're
Yeah.
working, of course, with Warehouser on other things.
Correct. And Weyerhaeuser does contribute to FRIA, so that's how it's done. Yeah.
With you saying that, is there like a certain amount of money that FRIA, that this warehouser gets? Like I can't remember how the grant works when Jeff said that there's a pool of money, because I know there is one for the trails and there's one for this, and there was a whole bunch of FRIA dollars. Does it come specifically or eligible for our area community or our
That I'm
that
not
make
sure of.
part of that?
Well, it's through the forest management. Everybody contributes, and it's a pocket of money through FRIA. And it's generally a fairly large pocket that gets distributed throughout Alberta every year. So we're just down, we've been aware of it for some time, but just really need to take advantage of it. I think the trails will come under FRIA. I think
Yeah.
there are other things that we're going to work on.
Perfect. Okay, if there's no other questions, I'm needing a member of council to make a motion, please. Councillor Evans, thank you very much.
I'll make the motion that council approves the application and grant funding for the FRIA Fire Smart Grant Program to provide public education on wildfire safety to the residents of Drayton Valley.
Thank you very much. Any comment, question, debate on it? Councillor McGee.
Would the county be involved at all in this, and or are we strictly when you say the town of Drayton Valley in our, it's
Right.
broader than the town?
Right. This will be going to council or county council as well for the exact same thing, except it'll say Brazeau County for them.
Perfect. There has been a motion made, then I'll ask all in favor. That is carried. Thank you very much. Next up, we have 9.2, which is our 2023-2024 grant applications. Mr. Kundi Nambriai. I nailed it, right? Good morning, welcome.
Good morning, and thank you. So for this agenda item, administration is bringing forward a list of grant items, 2023 and 2024 grant items. And so for these grant items, these are items that these are grants we've already applied for in 2023 or are looking to apply for in 2024. And so what we did is we provided 2 attachments for this agenda item. The first attachment is a list of proposed grants that the mayor was kind enough to send to us. And so what we did was we have the proposed grants on the left side, and then on the right, we have some comments relating to those grants. A lot of those grants that were proposed, some we're already planning to take, some we've already taken, and some others weren't great fits. And so we just tried to provide a bit of commentary around that from the various departments. With the other attachment, we then also provided a list of grants for 2023 and 2024 that we have already taken in 2023, that we already applied for but are waiting notice, and then others that we anticipate applying for in 2024. In total, there are about 11 grants that we've already been approved for in 2023, about 10 that we're waiting a reply on, and 12 that we anticipate applying for in 2024. And so we tried as best as we can to sort of, comb through all the grants that were available and just put them in a list and thought of bringing them forward as an information item for discussion. So if you have any questions, please bring them forward.
Thank you very much for that. Any questions in regards to the grants? Councillor Gamana?
Thank you. That's great that we are going after grants and, applying for these many grants. I was just wondering, you mentioned that we've applied for few in 2023, but some of them are not approved yet. And it's kind of end of 2023 already, right? So how long does usually takes?
So every grant is different. They all have different deadlines, different schedules on when they'll get back to you, depending on if it's the federal or provincial government. And so for a lot of these grants that we applied for, it's just all a matter of just waiting, really. For example, I do know for the eVentures program, to bring electric vehicle stations. It's something that we had already applied for through the Community Energy Association. And so for that, we got notice that they'll come to a decision in 2024. And so it's just one of those things where we just wait and see, and hopefully we get them.
Okay, thank you.
Could I
Absolutely, yep.
Just add to that, great answer, Kundi. In addition to his answer, a lot of the, especially if it's the federal government, their fiscal year is March 31st, and oftentimes they don't make decisions on grants until January, February, sometimes March, right to the end.
And just a question in regards to the grants, since we are just still going through the budget process and we cut quite a few operating and capital projects, is there still the opportunity to apply for the grants, maybe specific to one of those projects that could bring it back onto the list, I guess? If we are successful at getting it, then perhaps it comes back on maybe. Is there the intention of doing that still?
That's a great question, Your Worship. I'd have to understand what project it is and if we've already applied for the grant. If there's any specific projects out there that we cut that would be eligible for grant approval, we could go back. I know council approved a number of them that are conditional on grant approvals, but I don't know if we actually reduced any that would be eligible for grants. We'd have to take that back and have a look at it.
I guess I asked because I thought there was one in here for like a beautification. So I know that we took off some of the things around the beautification. So if we were to apply that, would there be the opportunity to bring it back? As well as I think there was one for travel and tourism, like that would be perhaps supportive of the project in partnership with Drayton Valley Community Foundation as well as airport, I think, because we didn't really talk about that. Maybe those were just a couple of the specific that I was thinking.
You have anything to add there? I mean, council can approve any projects conditional on grants. So if we've cut them, I think the beautification one, I think the grant is in progress, isn't it? I think Shelley has applied for grants around that. No?
Well, I think the deadline was coming up, but I wasn't sure if we applied. Good morning.
Good morning. So I did look into the NRED grant for beautification, and I talked to our grant writers. I submitted what we had for our beautification plan, and unfortunately, he had said that none of those would qualify under that grant, and that the grant application is December 20th. Now, with that being said, we are looking at beautifying CETC. That could potentially be part of it. Unfortunately, we're not going to have the information for this year's application, and we'd have to apply for next year.
For next year. Okay. Mr. Ferris?
I do see that the airport is on there. The Regional Aerodrome Association has applied for a grant.
Yeah, I seen that one, but I thought there was an additional one as well. I kind of forget when I sent this to you, Kundi, but I thought there was an additional, a new one that come out for airports as well.
So I do know on the proposed list that you provided that you had noted the airport's capital assistance program. So this is on page 2. So in talking to planning, so they did say that that's the grant that they're applying for, the airport's capital assistance program.
So it is the
So
same
it's
one?
the same one.
Okay, perfect. Councillor Kamana?
Thank you. Just thinking through the same line, on our strategic plan, we have different areas that we're focusing on. I was wondering, it's great that we've applied for these many grants, but are we looking at those strategic areas and figuring out to see if there's grants out there as well? For example, the education initiatives that we have, is there grants out there, or for the inclusivity and diversity aspects of things that there's lots of grants out there for new immigrants and all of that. So in a nutshell, are we kind of comparing the strategic plan and trying to map them with grants out there? I think if we do that, then that way for fire services as well, which we are hopefully not, but we don't know what the next year will bring back to us, right? So I think probably that's, in my mind, maybe a step that we need to take.
I think it's important to note here, if I may, Your Worship, that administration is always looking for grant opportunities, and as they pop up, if it fits into a scenario that we're looking at or a project, then of course we would apply for those. It's always on all of our general managers and directors' radars, as well as Kundi's and mine. So if you see one that we haven't seen or that you think we're eligible for, by all means send it through. But we're always on the look for those, and if they make sense, then we certainly talk to council about it. In particular, if it requires matching funds, that will require a report coming back. But if it's a straight grant, 100% grant, we're always looking for those.
Thank you for that. Councillor McGee?
Just piggybacking on Councillor Gamanda's question. It's been said that if you have a good grant writer and somebody focused in your administration, that they can develop, and you can go this wide because there's that many out there. And then, of course, the MA, the AUMA, and the RMA, all of those have people that do the same thing, and send, here's the grants, get your grant writers to do that. And when Shelley was up, she talked about grant writers. So tell me what we are doing, and that's through your department, Kundi, is that because I've not seen a report like this ever before, and it's pretty valuable. So I just want to know where you're going and how far we can actually take it. If that was a question.
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Councillor McGee, and I'll say and give Kundi the opportunity to add. So right now, if it's a grant application process can be fairly complicated depending on the grant. And so we do have, I believe, a contracted service that will work as a grant writer for us, and they take a percentage of the grant that you receive. Staff, administration, again, we all focus, we all see the grant opportunities come, and we try to fit them in as best we can. Some municipalities and organizations will hire specific grant writers and have them on administration, and that is their task. They will work with the departments to do that, and it comes at a cost. So I guess, if you really wanted to go after every single grant that you could, there's a couple of variables that you need to keep in mind. One is budget, because most of the grants come with matching funds, a requirement of matching funds. And the other is, doing that comparison of do we use a contracted services or do we hire internal? And so that's not an exercise that we've done yet. That since I've been here, I guess I'm 5 weeks now or 4 weeks. So, but we haven't done that exercise yet. So, really, that's what it comes down to, and the time to do it. So a lot of the effort on grants is after you get them and the required reporting. Many of them require reporting for 5 years, right? And I know that AB Munis and RMA have been advocating and lobbying a little bit to reduce that requirement. Because it does take a fair amount of administration's time. Kundi, do you have anything to add there? Yeah.
The only other thing I would add is that apart from contracted services or only grants that we write ourselves internally, we do as well try to form partnerships with other organizations. For example, for the career fair that we had this year, that was a partnership through the Chamber of Commerce. And so we do have a lot of willing partners that are able to basically take the lead on all of these grants and and allow us to be the support for them. So that is also another way that we sort of try to manage a lot of these grants that do come forward, because they sort of touch on many in various areas that other partners can sort of come in on.
Thank you for that. If there's no other questions, is there a member of council who'd like to make a motion? Councillor Ballas? Thank you very much for that. Any comment, question, debate? All in favor? That is carried. Well, thank you very much for that. Next up on the agenda, we have 9.3 to discuss the advocacy letter to Minister Nixon. Ms. Lola Strand, good morning.
Good morning. In early October, I attended a roundtable discussion with Minister Nixon in regards to homelessness. And during that roundtable discussion, although the topic was homelessness, Minister Nixon did state that he felt that affordable housing was the long-term solution to homelessness. He spoke about the province's works to create partnerships to increase the supply of affordable housing through the Provincial Affordable Housing Partnership Program, which is the grant that the Brazeau Foundation is preparing to apply for. But Minister Nixon further commented that he believes that the province should also be sustaining existing affordable housing units and considers that a crucial part of the solution as well. So back in 2008, the town received grant funding from the province to purchase a 20-unit affordable housing project, which is the Urbanata. And in 2009, 6 additional units were added to the inventory, and all 26 units are full and have long wait lists. Sorry, I have a frog in my throat.
That's okay.
Although the obligation to the government of Alberta to maintain rental rates at an affordable rate expired in 2018, the town continues to ensure that those who need access to affordable, quality, supportive housing for families and individuals who are living and working in our community. Residents of our affordable housing program include single parents, persons with disabilities, newcomers, the elderly, families, and independent youth. Keeping our affordable housing units in a good state of repair helps to ensure that our program maintains a positive reputation in the community, and it also ensures that the investment that the government of Alberta has made, as well as the town of Drayton Valley, is protected. Maintenance and repairs, especially in our older units, have come at a cost to taxpayers. So attached is a letter addressed to Minister Nixon that asks that consideration be given to existing housing providers during 2024 budget deliberations, and that funding for the improvement and maintenance of existing affordable housing inventory be made available. Especially since now Minister Nixon is off on a leave, I think it's important to make sure that his thoughts are on paper somewhere, so that the minister that is covering for him right now knows that was important to him. So for financial implications, although the proposed 2024 budget for affordable housing shows a slight surplus, repairs and maintenance can be difficult to predict. There are also staffing costs associated with the management and maintenance of our affordable housing units that are not reflected in the budget. So should funding be made available through the government of Alberta, affordable housing may no longer be at a cost to taxpayers. So administration recommends that the letter be signed by Mayor Dodds and that council directs administration to send the letter to both Minister Jason Nixon and also CC'd Andrew Bruchenko, our MLA for Drayton Valley Devon.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Councillor Ballas?
I guess my question would be just exactly what is our ask? Do we know what? Do we want renovations? Do we want new buildings? What exactly are we asking for?
So currently, the Affordable Housing Partnership Program is a grant that is targeting new builds. So adding new doors of affordable housing, and therefore the Brazeau Foundation is applying for that grant. But what Minister Nixon is saying is the part of the picture that the government of Alberta is missing is support for current existing affordable housing units, that they're not providing any support for the maintenance and upkeep and repair of those units, that especially the ones that, like, they provided us with the grant to purchase them but then that was all. They haven't provided any support in the upkeep and maintenance to make sure that they can continue to stay in the affordable housing pool. So he's suggesting that there should be funding made available for that piece as well. So that would be the ask.
Go ahead,
Follow-
Bill.
Thank you. So in regards to that, do we have a cost associated to what renovations are required or maintenance is required?
So it would be.
Or are we just asking for a blank check?
So it was a blanket statement. It was something that he wanted to advocate to the province for as a, not just for Drayton Valley, but as a blanket statement for other communities as well. So at this point, yeah, it would be a letter of support for the government of Alberta to create a second stream in that funding so that communities like ours could then apply.
Councillor Gamana?
Thank you. Affordable housing and housing in general is kind of a hot topic right now everywhere in Canada as well as in Drayton Valley as well. So it's fantastic that we are sending this letter to the minister to take care of the assets that we already have. I'm in full support of that, but I'm just wondering, I think we need to go one step further. We got these buildings a few years ago, probably about 10, 12, I believe.
2008.
Exactly, right? So through a process where provincial and federal funding. So I think we need to look at that. I understand that another organization that's provincially funded is looking at that, but that's separate. That's not Town of Drayton Valley. I think we need to look at ourselves as to look into maybe bringing in another affordable housing unit or two to the community, because there's a bigger need in the community right now, and it will start growing from here. So that's my 2 cents. I think it's great that we are sending this letter, but I think we need to look into sending or starting negotiating for other new units as well.
Councillor McGee?
So I understand the letter and I think we should support it and send it out to keep in mind the costs. Second piece is to purchase a 20-unit affordable housing project and 6 additional units where the Brazeau Foundation is looking to for that grant. Do you know how much that grant is by any chance?
The one that they're applying for?
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't know how much they're applying for.
And it's the foundation itself is applying on behalf of the foundation for the town of Drayton Valley.
That's correct. So the application they're applying for would be then, because the Brazeau Foundation's housing is owned by the province, they're asking for additional housing to be built here owned by the province.
Okay. Yeah, I think I do understand it. Sometimes it's a little mixed, as you know, trying to figure out our housing, but I get it. Yeah, thanks.
So with that, we're kind of, I guess, a co-applicant on that. Is that how it works, the Town of Drayton Valley? Or you mentioned that they're requesting the grant and then,
Well, I think in the end, if it's there, and as Wally has been mentioning, is that there's always going to be matching dollars, and that's when I think they come back to the community to say, all right, here we have it, here's what we're looking for, here's how it's going to, and here's your matching contribution, if you will, and that would come to the county of Brazeau and the town of Drayton Valley, because we're both in the part of that foundation.
even being provincially owned, that's the way?
Yeah.
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 Okay, any other questions or,
Sorry, Amela, you're not seeing it quite the same way.
No, I don't. I've mentioned that a few times. Like, I think we, as a council, we need to have a discussion on how do we move the housing initiatives forward, right? Where the provincial organization, they are moving that forward separately, and that's totally fine. We need those units in Drayton Valley. But I think we need to look at, as town of Drayton Valley, to bring in more units as well, like Urbanata, like the other ones that we build in the community. Because in the end, Urbanatas and all of that town of Drayton Valley owns right now. But the units that the other organization applying for grants and all that won't be owned by town of Drayton Valley. It will be a provincial asset. So I think we need to understand the separation, and we need to have a discussion in council what's best for the community, and also about when we talk about the affordability, then how do we make sure that, we have the right levers to pull to keep that units affordable? If it is run by another organization, we don't have that levers to pull because it's not in our control. So just my 2 cents.
Thank you for that. Just in response to that, if we are able to move forward with that RDN initiative that I had done the operating or the request for, if we can move forward with the RDN, I'm hoping that through that process, it would give us a really good roadmap as to what the community really needs and who should own what and all those things. So if we can move forward with that, I think that would be really helpful to add to that discussion, or I guess to initiate that discussion as a community.
And Hans, I see you nodding. So is there something more you want to add? Just before you do that, though, I think Camilla has a good point, or Councillor Romana has a good point on the separation between government and the ownership of these facilities. I think at the Brazeau Foundation, we've always thought that it's important that that the government actually owns it, because when we go in to look at repairs and maintenance at the lodge, guess who does that? The province. And that's really important. And so when we have the separation of housing authorities within the town, and Councillor Romana is talking about that housing authority go down the road of getting their own and owning our own, like Urbanata and the ones that we do own, we need to have that discussion. He's correct about how we see that separation and how we go forward. I think that's really a point to be made. It might be best. It's always been my view that we have one housing authority, and then we decide whether it's going to be the town of Drayton Valley and the county, or whether it's provincially, and we use provincial dollars both for building and maintenance. I hope that that's helpful.
I think I understand that. So in the new year, we can certainly outline a report for perhaps our new G&P committee for some general discussion around that, and so I'll work with community services to make sure that we're developing an administrative report that comes forward that delineates what the province's responsibility is versus the housing authority versus what the town of Drayton Valley is. That's what I think what you're looking for. So yeah, we can target that. It'll be sometime in the new year before we get around that. It's I think, as everybody understands, a bit of a complicated issue. So thank you.
Absolutely. So is everybody okay with the letter? If so, is there a member of council that would like to make a motion for this? Councillor Sheriffs?
I'll make a motion that the letter be signed by Mayor Dodds and council direct administration to send a letter to Minister Jason Nixon and CC Andrew Boychenko, MLA of Drayton Valley, Devon.
Thank you very much for that. Any comment, question, debate on the motion? None. Then I'll ask all in favor. That is carried. Thank you very much. And then that's kind of it for our decision items. Otherwise, our closed session. So what I think we'll do is we'll move into our department reports. And our first up is 10.1, Mr. Hans von Klaveren, Community and Recreation Services Department. You were not expecting us to be this early, were you? Good morning, welcome.
Thank you, Mayor, and through to the rest of council. So it's nice to be this early, so everybody's fresh for that. So our department report starts with the ECDC. The items that you see in there, of course, are exciting. We see December 10th, we had the ECDC staff also at the MCC for Santa's workshop. There was a great event, but I wanted to highlight something that's not in there. Pembina Pipeline had another donation for ECDC to support our swimming lesson program in 2024. So that's great that we see that support in the community for those items that make that a quality daycare. For FCSS, you see the highlighted items over there as well. As known already, January 29th are sessions at the Rotary that people are invited to come out and check out with the Canadian Mental Health Association, bringing workshops to town. For the Omniplex, this is a very, very busy time. We see extreme busy days. Sometimes we almost get overwhelmed by what's being thrown at us with the different organizations. So one was clearly December 1st when we had 1,200 kids participating in the hockey hooky. That was together with the Thunder, and that's a lot of things happening at the same days, sometimes in the same weekends. Live Barn, we gave you a little bit of an update over there. We've seen some excitement in the media that wanted to put information out there. We were like, okay, we are installing. So that happens currently as we speak. We'll get promotion out for people to be participating in that. For the Aquatic Center, the JLC is our junior lifeguard program. They are in their competition season again. And yes, they were first again in our region when they went to Hinton. I just want to remind you that they are looking into going to the Worlds in Australia this year. So they will come up with plans to start fundraising because to get a delegation to the other side of the globe is, of course, very expensive. So we'll see that coming out in the next year. The excitement about the steam generator, it's nice that we have excitement, at least that we know it's on its way and it's getting here. It's still very disappointing, of course, that this was a very large service gap for our community and new facility, but we're happy it's going to be here. For community services, the outcome of the test run that the Drake's Handybus did with seniors taking a small trip, it means that we do that, or we, basically Drake's Handybus will do that every Wednesday to do a little loop, as we see over there, to make sure that seniors have the chance to go around town and shop and go to certain locations on those days. And in facilities, there's a lot happening. Unfortunately, we do have to deal with vandalism as well throughout the community, and we see that some certain repairs will take the time of this facility team, but they will get the other things done as well. If there's any questions, please ask.
Thank you very much for that. Any questions? Councillor Clark.
Yes, the phone booth needs some repairs. Where do we pay for that? How do we pay for that?
Thank you. From my left-hand side, supported. Of course, maintenance crew takes care of all the, let's say, town facilities that we have. In this case, FCSS supports that because it's an FCSS-funded project.
Okay. And then the animal shelters that cause for critters, is that what we're referring to here when we talk about some repairs needed there?
Yes, the cost for critters building, of course, is a town maintenance obligation to make sure that we do certain repairs for sure with them and for them. This was determined as a safety issue with a mezzanine top that we have to take care of because there are certain furnaces and stuff over there. So we'll make sure with our maintenance team that we do those repairs that are required over time. It's an older building.
Yep. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Just a comment, I just want to say thank you very much for helping with the community recognition that we started at the end of this year. I know that there's a lot of work that goes into it. We've changed the process a little bit, so hopefully it won't task you too much. Now it'll be up to the counselors to write their own little scripts up, and then if you need to put a little twist on it, you can. So thank you very much. It's greatly appreciated as well. Thank you to you and your team for the extra work and time and celebrating and decorating for Christmas and all the parties and everything else. Everything looks beautiful and it's been fantastic. So please forward that on from council that we're very appreciative of that.
Thank you, certainly do, and it's rewarding to do so. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much. Okay, next up is 10.2 Municipal Service Department Report. Ms. Shelley Terry. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Mayor and members of council. So I'm going to start with Public Works. So the Sanders were out full force for a minor amount of time after the snow event on December 7th. Now we haven't had snow since, so that has stopped again. Staff is 90% compliance on safety certification and are working hard to get to 100%. Public Works and Parks are working on removal of some danger trees within day use park area. Holiday banners were installed on structures on 50th, as well as some additional festive lights. Public Works and Parks are working hard this week to try to clean up DeBee Park. This is a large undertaking for our crew and it'll take some time, but since winter is not fully set in, this is the perfect opportunity for us to get in there and work on it. The signage changes at the Omniplex were implemented on December 1st. So that was the yield and stop sign change. For parks, snow removal on sidewalk and trails on December 7th after snowfall has been completed. Park staff are working on prepping the ODR right now. Weather's been kind of difficult for us, so they've been doing flooding at night to try to get it up for the holiday seasons. It's working well. We did have some kids playing on it though, and it did wreck it, so we had to fix that up again. So we did post some signs and kind of give some timelines on when that ice is going to be ready for use. Utilities, 2 main valves were replaced as part of the main valve replacement program, and 1 valve is scheduled for December 18th. 3 fire hydrant repairs were completed. All chemicals at the water plant have been restocked for preparation for Christmas holidays. Quarterly sampling for haloacidic acid and trihalomethanes were completed. This is just a regular sampling that we have to do as per AEPA's guidelines. The heater in the generator room is currently under repairs. Was currently under repairs. I believe it's completed now. Our facilities maintenance staff have got that back up and running. Our Sager pilot continues to work very well and dropping our parameters below the new approval limits. And we are scheduled for an acute lethality sample on December 18th for that. Aeration blowers were serviced at the wastewater treatment plant. UV building generator had a coolant level alarm when we went to do our generator run. We found a solenoid that has failed and it's currently on order and will be replaced soon. Landfill and engineering, monitoring the active cell is ongoing. This includes confirm the daily cover and grizzly plates are being installed at day's end. Preparation for report of groundwater monitoring that needs to be submitted to AEPA in March. Preparation of the 2023 annual report is underway for the landfill as well. Preparation for public consultation is underway for our approval renewal. I believe we'll be doing public consultation January 2nd starting. And town staff has implemented the operating hour changes at the recycle center. And we did have one incident of a resident dumping recycling over the gate. So we did post some signs about surveillance and no dumping. And I'll open it up for questions.
Thank you very much for your report. Any questions for Ms. Terry? Councilor McGee?
We have outdoor rinks. How many do we actually have? And are we actually trying to make them all work?
Right now, we're just focusing our efforts on the ODR, but we do have one at the downtown park, one at Mackenzie Park, and one over by the Omniplex, where the basketball court is kind of there. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to get them all up and going just with the weather issues we've been having. So we're making attempts right now. We're just focusing on one at a time and then see where it goes.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. It's very, very difficult, I think, right now. So just trying to focus on one.
Yeah, and right now we're actually taking the snow from the Omniplex to actually build our rinks because there's no snow to be used. So we're using what the Zambonis leave behind. And
Yeah, quite an ordeal, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you for that. Any other questions? No, okay, well, thank you very much. And the additional Christmas lights look fabulous too.
Yeah,
I
it ties
noticed them
everything-
last night all the way down now to, I don't know what street it is. They're at the top street out and then all the way down to Scotiabank too, the addition. Barty this morning, when we recognized her, made the comment on that too. She said, the lights look absolutely beautiful. Everyone's talking about it. So it is the talk of the community. So thank you very much.
Welcome.
We'll move next on to council reports. First up, Councillor Gamana.
Okay, thank you. We had budget discussions last couple of weeks, so I've attended all of that. And also the Jingle Ball was fantastic. It is the season. We had very good attendance there and had fun as well. And also the staff Christmas party. So that was fantastically very well organized. Two great MCs. Thank you very much for that. And it was entertaining and all that. So kudos to the group that organized that as well. Other than that, I had the opportunity to attend the Snowman Lane 35-year anniversary on the 3rd. They had outdoor hockey games and fun stuff. So that was good to see. 35 years is a long time. So congratulations to them as well. On the 7th joint council meeting, on the 9th Health Foundation retreat. So they had a retreat for a half a day, more than half a day to figure out what they're doing now and what they need to change and what they would like to do in the future as well. So there was a facilitator there and discussed about the role of Health Foundation and what mandate that they should move forward with in 2024 and 2025. That's on the 9th. On 11th, with PPRRC, I had the opportunity to meet Zoom meeting with Dr. Jennifer Bastard. She's the manager, Central Zone director for HS, and we discuss about the recruitment that's going on and doctors shortages and all of that. So good news is that there's at least 3 doctors that they are looking into recruiting for our community. One of them hopefully be here within the next 6 months. They all are international recruits, so it takes time for them to go through the process of LMIAs, visas, and getting the right certificates to practice in Canada. So that's going to take some time. That's it from me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Ballas.
Thank you. December 1st, 5th, and 6th, we had budget discussions. On the 7th, we had a joint council meeting. Also on the 7th, I participated in the David Thompson Yellowhead Health Advisory webinar. It was basically in support of seniors, which I fit into that category, in talking about prevention, healthy aging, dementia, friendly communities, and what support is there from the provincial level for seniors. Then on the 8th, we had the Christmas pizza and pool, and there was a great turnout from the people that were participating, town employees, fire people, and it was a great event for the children, and the adults enjoyed it as well. On the 9th, the Town of Drayton Valley Christmas party. On the 11th, a symbiotic update. And last night, we had a youth advisory committee function. And that concludes my report.
Thank you for that. Councillor Evans.
Yeah, I also attended our budget meetings, although I was sick for a while there. So the last few I attended via Skype. Also missed the Jingle Ball. I was sick, which was too bad. And attended our Christmas party. Finally, I was able to get out of the house and have a little fun. And yeah, kudos to all our staff. was a great time. It was nice to see everybody out and enjoying themselves. And yeah, even won a prize this year, which was quite something. Thanks to Councillor Clark giving me some tickets. I think that's about all I have for my stuff. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Councillor Sheriffs.
Unfortunately, I was a little bit sick, so I missed a lot of good stuff, the Jingle Ball, Christmas parties, swimming pool events, but I did the budget deliberations on Zoom, so yay. That's all I got.
Thank you very much. Councillor McGee.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Staff Christmas party. Great. You mentioned it, but it was decorated beautifully, and I think it was handled really well. And I think it's important to do that sort of thing for our staff. So I think that was top notch. The joint council meeting, I would say we've got to pick that game up a little bit. I thought it was a bit of a, we have more work to do. We have to connect with that group, and we have to have either more on the agenda or we just have to get people talking, right? We're just not talking enough, in my view. So I think it's important to keep it going, and we just got to figure out a way to get it exciting. Last day I was at an FCSS meeting, the first one I'd been at, and I went in place of you, Monica, and it happened to be when we were doing our grant allocations, and it was really a good meeting for me to be at because, as you know, I struggle a little bit with trying to figure out who gets what. But it was helpful, and it was a good meeting and good to meet that group. So another important one. And that's that.
Thank you very much for that. Deputy Mayor Clark.
Yep, budget discussions, the Braz Joint Council meeting, Drayton Valley Christmas Party, Symbiotic. I won't go over the details on those. Had agenda setting, also attended a Child Care Now webinar, so that I was attended and asked to give a counselor's perspective on municipal childcare. That's a recorded session, so it's available online if you guys want to watch it. It's very riveting. Otherwise, that's all I have.
Thank you very much for that. For myself, I had a meeting with MLA Andrew Bachenko. We are continuing to push issues forward up the province when it comes to our healthcare issues, doctor shortages, talking about nurse practitioners, and I guess using the full capabilities at our hospital, bringing back obstetrics and looking at ways we can get our operating rooms open. So we'll continue to work on things like that, as well as our education initiatives when it comes to our post-secondary institute partners and programs that we have. We'll continue to push those up through the Minister of Advanced Education. We did discuss about the wildfire and about there's additional funds perhaps coming from the federal government. So if we could maybe put together a letter to the finance minister, we can chat a little bit later about that in regards to some additional funding that might give us a little bit more relief there when it comes to that for both the town of Drayton Valley and Brazeau County. Also, the LGFF funding, we discussed that a little bit, and there was some conversation around that there could be an increase to that. So fingers crossed that there would be even a little bit helps. Every little bit helps. We did talk about our budget and all the things that we've had to cut, and just that those costs are getting more and more, I guess, harder to put projects on our list. And when it comes to just everything that we've had to deal with this year, including the wildfires and insurance, RCMP, and all that, yeah, if we can definitely get any help and any support there, it'd be wonderful. Our joint council meeting, yes, it was an interesting meeting. I think our meeting before was absolutely fantastic. We connected a lot. We had a lot on our agenda this time. I think that, I think it's just the end of the year. It's been a difficult year for everybody coming through budget, both councils, and just a lot on our minds. We do have another meeting scheduled in the new year. I'm sure we'll pick it up. We've got a lot of interests and a lot of support coming through on both sides there. I attended the 35-year Snowman Lane celebration in the community. What a fantastic way to celebrate 35 years. It's exciting to see that it's still strong and going. What a fantastic turnout. I know that the family's been doing this for a long time with the help of many volunteers. and the Thunder was there playing a game. There was little fire pits and Santa came, and it was just a great evening for the community. It was nice to see everybody out, and it actually even snowed as I was walking out the door. So I had spoke to the one of the volunteers, and they said that they think that it was planned that way. So it was really nice to see that. I attended an Alberta Munis Town Hall online, and of course the Christmas party. So thank you for all the party coordinators and everything for putting that together. It was a fabulous night and just a great way to kind of wind down the year. I know that it's been a difficult and challenging and interesting year. So thank you very much to our administration for everything that you've done this year, all the extra above and beyond. It's very much appreciated. Hopefully you'll get a little bit of time off with your family over the holidays just to relax, as well as council. Thank you very much for all the decisions that you make and the sacrifices and everything that you bring to our community. So with that, I'll just say Merry Christmas to everybody, Happy Holidays, many blessings in the new year, and I hope that everybody just has a safe and happy holidays over the next few weeks coming up. And that is it for my council report. Is there a member of council that'd like to accept both the department reports and council reports as information? Councilor Gamana, thank you very much for that. And that is it for departments. So I'll quickly jump before we call a break. Are there any council initiated items before we move into closed? I just have the two. Again, we can talk about it maybe after with my meeting with the MLA is putting together a letter to the finance minister asking for the additional funding for the wildfire. So maybe we can work with him to get a little bit more details. I think he said it was federal, but maybe we can get the exact name of it and apply for that. I did say that there was those additional funds were a bit of a strain on our budget. So if we can push that, as well as if we can start working on maybe a little bit of a package. I know that Kundi left there, but in regards to our education, that was another topic. When I had gone into the legislature, I had talked to the Minister of Advanced Education. So she said to put together an ask, and she would be more than happy to help push that ask forward up at the provincial level for us. So if we can determine what that exact ask is and get that into her, that would be great. And I think that's it for me for council items. Councilor McGee, did you have anything?
Just a quick question about crosswalks. Shelley, I don't know if we've got them all, or there was 4 and we were putting them in, or we're not quite finished yet. I've forgotten what you said, so you can remind me of where we're at within the. And I think, Madam Mayor, you got a call from somebody that again brought up the one crosswalk down by school on the corner, St. Anthony's there.
I think so, but I don't remember.
Get lots of calls. I know you did.
Thank you for the question. So we have one that still needs to be installed. 3 have been installed. So one at the Omniplex, one over by the Scotia Bank, I believe. And then the other one is over by the new school on 43rd Ave. The last one goes on 54th, and we just had to wait for a crossing agreement with ADCO before we could install. Welcome.
Sorry to get.
I'm just going to go to Mr. Ferris first. I think you had a question for me.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. Just just for some clarity, so additional wildfire funds, we can certainly craft a letter to the federal minister on that for your signature. But on the economic development and educational piece of that, what is the ask? That's a very good question. I think we're probably best to wait until we have our workshop in January to kind of figure that out together, because administration's ask may be quite different than what council is looking for.
Sure. Okay. Councilor Sheriffs.
I just have a question for Shelley. Could you maybe do a little bit of clarification about our ice on the ponds? Because I know there's some kids walking on it. Some people say they shouldn't be. The signage, safety, just a little bit of a public information maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. So we did get a report that there were some children walking on the Northview Pond. We are getting an educational piece out in the newspaper, just stating like it is dangerous because they're not they're not holding ponds. So we've got flow coming in and out, and the level fluctuates quite frequent. So we did send the CPO over to the Northview Pond. I think by the time he had gotten there, the kids had already gotten off, but they are doing more patrolling of all of our stormwater ponds. The ice is just not stable. So we ask that residents please remain off of those for their protection, and bylaw is going to help educate if they see that going on moving forward.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that. Okay, we will call a 10-minute break, and when we come back, we'll move into closed, and we will wrap up our council meeting in record time this morning.